All right, the first video, I think it's relevant to the topic we had just discussed. It's titled "This Needs to Stop." It's from Grumpy Eye. He's mad again. He's mad again about something, guys.
Hello and welcome to yet another
sounds
Grumpy's
happy.
Rehab Facility video. Today I'm very pissed off, so let's
never
roll the
mind.
intro.
Hello, my name is Grumpy. Grumpy Eye. Grumpy Eye. Grumpy Eye.
So
He sounds
if
happy
you're
to be
wondering
pissed. Maybe, yeah.
why is Grumpy pissed off again, well, there's a couple of reasons. And one of the reasons is this.
Yeah, you kind of like led into it quite well there, the merchant.
Okay. So we did just discuss this on the stream. I do want to hear his opinions, but when I do share my opinions, you probably have heard them already. Okay,
That's
guys?
like the big elephant in the room for me.
I didn't say anything.
No, but it's
mentioned
the big expectation.
That's clearly on your mind.
It is on my mind. It's a very, very beautiful elephant, but it is very large. I think that's the one that...
He's nervous, too. He's like red
that's
in the
the one
face.
for me that is got the most unknowns around it. We're still kind of actively working on it due to basically people chasing new adventures and just in slight priority changes. We've kind of got a skeleton team that are currently working on the exterior. The exterior is progressing along well. It's kind of, it's gone through most of its modeling. We're starting to do kind of material breakups and that sort of stuff and really, defining the overall exterior shape. But we do need to look at that and decide whether or not it's, now is the right time for it with the current team we've got, or whether or not we, focus on other ships. So it's still in progress at the moment. When it's going to actually come out is completely unknown at the moment.
We're at a sort of like crossroads with it, where we've done a lot of, like the interior is white box, the exterior is further along, and we're at a point where we continue down the path and we absorb that amount of time that this ship of that size is going to take, or we, production phrase, put a pin in it and move on to something else, which is going to be a better use of our time. So I can hear all the merchantman owners screaming now. But like, there is a big capital ship.
I mean, I'm seeing it's all marketing and management's fault in Twitch chat. Here's your manager. And I don't understand what marketing has to do with this specific scenario.
Maybe there are smaller ships that would come sooner that add better value to the game.
But do I need...
So just to be clear, it's they also, and I don't know if he's going to go into other clips, they also touched on the fact that people have left the company, and that seems to be the issue around this. That's been the issue behind other ships in the past before. It happens, these things happen, delays happen, okay? There's nothing wrong with a delay happening, and there's nothing wrong with them communicating that delay to us, especially the way that they did here, which I believe was left out of this clip, okay? So the kind of reasons behind it, and then the reasons before maybe making that decision to go into smaller ships is also a thing, because shouldn't you have just done that in the first place, right? So there's a backlog of ships. We listed 10 off the top of my head that have been in concept in the last like couple of years, none of which are in production. So there's such an insane backlog that, yeah, spending a year on a given big ship, kind of a crazy thing to do, but also it's kind of a crazy thing to put out another picture of an incredibly large ship that you can't finish, right? So there's like this weird thing here.
To remind you that a couple of months ago, or exactly 3 months ago, they said this.
This question is simply, what is the plan on getting the older concepts out the door in a reasonable time frame?
Oh.
Some of the 2015 ships are 7+ years old, like the Endeavor.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to priority and scope and resources, which is fun, boring management stuff that I have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it's resources, and they don't have enough of them to finish the ships, clearly. They don't have enough ship artists. They don't have enough people to get them into the game. Like, as good as the ship pipeline has gotten, when it got better, they started to draw more pretty pictures of ships, and they can't keep up with it.
Vehicle team, and I think I've talked about this in the past, like,
we work to like a 18 to 24 month ahead of time schedule, and we get sort of fairly locked into that. A lot of the other teams in CIG are a lot more agile, so to speak, but we have quite a long lead time because these ships take a long time to make. And if there's any artists in chat, they will know that like chopping and changing on a weekly basis is just terrible for your concentration and getting into the zone of doing things. Like the worst thing we can do is go, hey, you're working on an Aegis ship for 3 weeks. Oh, by the way, now you're working on an Origin ship for 3 weeks. Oh, by the way, now you're working on a Drake ship for 3 weeks. So we like to, wherever we can, and there has been exceptions in the past, once we start a ship, we see it through to the end of release. And we don't tend to start ships now in production without fairly firm guarantees that the gameplay is going to come with them at the end. That was different way back in the past. We would just work on a ship.
Remember that
We'd ask for the
comment?
gameplay. If the gameplay wasn't there, we'd shove it out.
That's
Example, Starfarer.
bullshit.
That's not how we want to do things these days, and hopefully people have seen that over the last, I don't want to say 3-4 years, where we deliver ships with their gameplay because it improves the experience for everyone.
And a couple of months prior to this, or exactly 5 months ago, they have said this.
It'd just be like driving around in a giant canoe. I mean, it's like you need the multi-crew gameplay, you need the resource management in order to have a capital ship experience. To put it out right now would be disappointing in more than one way.
Yeah.
I know people want to have it. They want to see it. They want to
Is
walk
this on the
around.
Band of
They want to
Merchantmen?
walk around and take all the pictures and everything. And then after you're done with that for the first 8 hours, you go, well, now
It's
I
a
want to
very
do
big
something
gladius.
with it. Yeah, it's a very big gladius, and that's
Yeah, I don't know what ship he's talking about, but it's not the Band of Merchantmen. But Jared, that's the entire game. That's the game you work for. After the first 8 hours of new content that you've put in the game, it is already irrelevant. So you just described Star Citizen altogether, and that's been the entire problem the entire time.
not what we want to. That's not what we want that experience to be.
Yeah,
Yet
that's
you
the
have
experience.
released the Corsair, the 400i, and I'm not going to continue because I already did this video basically. And the only thing that you can interact with inside of them is the doors and the switches and the lights.
But their
Well, let's
gameplay,
continue.
well, I
Why
guess
do
their
ships?
their
Why do some
exploration
ships
is what
get
he means. Yeah.
prioritized over others? There are some ships we've been waiting for, like the currently being built Band of Merchantmen since 2013.
This is another thing could write a book on. There is no one answer that applies to every ship. It is a combination of the resources we have at the time.
We're
if
watching
you take-
Grumpy Eye, guys. We're watching Grumpy
if I could click my
Eye.
fingers now, put the Polaris into
Really good
production,
video so far.
that would take out a big chunk of the UK team for maybe 12, 18 months, which means we can't deliver a constant flow of other vehicles in patches. So you could go multiple patches without any vehicle release or any support for other features coming out. So we have to balance that across not just delivering vehicles, but supporting the other teams. The last few years, we've been trying to not push vehicles out without their gameplay. So things like the Crucible, we could make the Crucible now, but we don't really want it floating around without the repair gameplay to go alongside. So whilst I can control the production of the vehicle, I have to rely and work with other directors to get their side delivered alongside it.
We can't trade them between players. Why are you making the Band of Merchantmen then?
And the problems that affect me of, hey, we've changed our minds for IE, we want to do this instead, also affects them for other things. Like the feature they're working on now might be delayed for another team, which delays the feature I need for this vehicle. So we chop and change a lot. And then
I understand his dilemma
also-
though, because he doesn't make the decision. He doesn't prioritize what gameplay is important. And this has been entirely, I feel like, what's wrong with Star Citizen this entire time is, did you hear what he said too? Oh, we changed our mind for what we want to do at IAE. Like, that is the most important thing. Not, we changed our mind what we want to do for 318. Not, oh man, we really, you know what? we really feel that we want to deliver this specific gameplay feature. No, IAE was the thing that was on his mind. Maybe it was some meeting that he just had, but that sticks out to me there as something like really, really kind of egregious to and like problematic to hear. But the thing that I think really needs to happen, and I've been kind of preaching this for the last year or so, the ship guy shouldn't decide what the priority is. Somebody needs to decide what the priority is, and whoever that is, the entire company needs to work towards that priority. If the cargo refactor comes in 3.18, everything that is possible to be worked on around cargo needs to happen in 3.18, right? So from a ship standpoint, John Crew should be delivering the hull C. From a gameplay standpoint, the mission teams should have missions related to cargo. Anybody else? Reputation related to cargo. Cargo armors, cargo clothing, right? Tractor beam attachments, the bigger tractor beam for the weapon team. Tractor beams on ships for the ship weapon team. Locations, cargo decks, right? Everybody should have been all hands on deck at 3.18 for one specific thing. But it's a like mishmash of a bunch of different shit that doesn't work together.
If you have artists, especially, hey, you're working on this big ship for 18 months. You don't want to put them on another big ship for 18 months afterwards. You want to break that and give them, hey, here's a nice little snub ship to do. So that's why you might see like a random ground vehicle come out from nowhere, because they are much quicker relatively to do and gives those people a nice like palette refresh of what they're doing.
So if that was the case, why did you start working on the Banner Merchantman?
Yeah.
And why did you start
doesn't exist.
teasing us and hyping it up and telling us that it's going to be
the little working on little vehicles and stuff
in the game and stuff like that? Why did you do that? I have no other explanations except that you wanted to sell a bunch of merchantmans and during the Alien Week and during IAE that is currently running. And so tell me, CAG, what the fuck? Now,
this logic is completely flawed. So, yes, they wanted to sell a bunch of Banu Merchantmans during IAE week, yet they put out a video that says that they're going to delay the Banu Merchantman 3 to 4 days before the sale of the Banu Merchantman even exists. So where's the logic there?
Now you're gonna announce the Galaxy, which is also a capital ship. Well, it's maybe a sub-capital ship. It doesn't matter. We know too little about it.
Spoiled
but
on
last
what it
year,
is,
you fucking announced the Odyssey, and you showed us like the interior, the white box phase, and you said that you were working on it.
Concept phase.
And where's the fucking Odyssey? It's not on the progress tracker. It's not anywhere. And if you're saying that you don't want to have a team work on a ship for like 3 weeks and then pull them away from the ship, and you want to focus on something that's going to be released, then why are you focusing on the Banner Merchantman? Why did you focus on the Legionnaire once you sold it?
Capitalism!
And then stopped focusing. I think it was November the 27th when you said that you're not working on the Legionnaire anymore. Why did you start working on because you're saying that you're going to work on smaller ships? Why did you start working on the Tumbrel? I think it was the Ranger, and then stopped in September, and then you started working again on the Apollo.
The Ranger's
tech.
tech
It's September.
Was tech issues. Apollo, I don't know what the deal is with that.
Because of Squadron 42. Because here's the thing, I completely understand that the Merchantman is not supposed to be an empty, huge-ass Gladius or oversized Caterpillar or the oversized C2. Completely understandable. But also, when are you going to release it? When are you going to, and yes, these are the when questions that you despise. When are you going to release enough gameplay loops and features to the game that the game itself can support a Banner Merchantman and a Liberator and the Odyssey and the Javelin and the, like, should I
The difference is those things are harder to do. Squadron 42 is the priority, and yeah, like you can ask the when question, but your answer is never going to be clear.
Like stop, or should I just continue the endeavor, the whatever? So when is that going to happen? Oh, sure. When you finish Squadron 42 and all of the 3 sequels that you have to do. You tease the 600i during IAE right now, the rework, and then you said that you do not know where to put it in your schedule. And you're going to work on the Galaxy, and you're going to tease the Galaxy, and you're going to say, this is going to be amazing. Just give us the money. Give us money. And then nothing. Because you're focusing on Squadron 42. But also your chairman said during CitizenCon that focusing on Squadron 42 is the best thing that you ever had. Because, yes, your focus is on Squadron 42, but the PU and the Star Citizen, the game Star Citizen, because it's a separate game that we're paying for, but you're developing another game, is going to have more things faster in a more complete state.
Where
and
are
we
those
have
things?
had a single patch the whole.
Where are those things? They showed them to us, and they look okay. They're not ready, but yeah, it's time for those things to be in our hands a little bit more. The first thing apparently is the hand salvage mechanic. That is the first thing that the actor feature team moved over, and I think will be delivered from Squadron 42 level of polish.
Whole fucking year. And here's one more thing that nobody thinks about. Most of the ships that we already have in the game, most of them have to be reworked. Because most of them are not, they do not have physicalized components and a bunch of other systems that are needed for the pipeline, or should I say the rework of the pipeline that is called resource management. And yeah. So they will need to rework all the ships, and it's not just simply plugging stuff in and adding stuff. No, some of them need to be completely redone, and that's gonna take them a lot of time. And on top of that, we have, I don't know, 20-something capital ships that are on the backlog, and then we have a bunch of other ships, like smaller ships, that are also in the backlog. For what reason? Because CAG has no idea how to manage this project, because they keep on.
No, they know exactly how to manage this project. It's just not morally correct. That's just what it comes down to. There's a morality issue here, right? Would you draw a picture of something, tell somebody you're going to release it, and not release it? You wouldn't do it because it's not a nice thing to do. They don't care about being nice. They don't care about doing the right thing. They don't care about doing right by us. They only care about doing right by them. That's it. They're not being a bad guy necessarily. It's morally wrong. It is morally wrong. But they are going to draw a picture, and they have no accountability on and will not take any accountability on when they're going to release it. None. They don't care. They are going to draw another picture next year. They're going to draw multiple pictures next year, and they will have zero accountability again on when they're going to release them. Okay? That's what's going to happen. And we don't have a game if they don't keep doing that, most likely. So if you're still dumb enough to keep buying a ship that you know is not going to come out anytime soon, thank you for your service. I will enjoy the game at some point.
They keep on saying, well, you will be able to do this, and this. And then they release ships that are basically oversized Gladiuses, just boats where you can interact with the switches, and that's it. The best addition to the game was the cutter. By far in the past 2 years, because it's a starter ship, because it can do everything that you can do in the game, except of course mining and maybe salvage once we get it. But
it can do all those things. Technically,
the only thing that you can do in the game is basically what a cutter is made for, and it can do everything.
Yeah, this is a morality issue. This is a morality issue, but in the end, their funding model, the way that they they continue to run their company is by selling a pretty picture of a ship with an idea behind it and not having any accountability to release it at any reasonable point in time. That is their funding model.
Edition, it's cheap, it's good,
Is it
it's
right? Is it
reliable,
moral? Is it good?
somewhat,
No,
and that's it.
it's
And then
fucking
you
terrible.
have the fighters and all of that, but that's like the only other game loop that.
But why are we mad today? Why weren't this was still a thing in 2014? It was the same concept. The ship we're talking about existed in 2014. And I think was on a fucking roadmap at the 2016 CitizenCon.
We have
6
or
years
bounty
ago.
hunting and PvPing and all of that shit. So when are we gonna get more systems in the game? When are we gonna get more features?
Yeah, the systems and the features are what matters, not the ships. The ships don't matter. You have plenty of ships to work with right now. The game can be fun. Keep delivering features, gameplay loops.
What are you doing, CAG? Like literally, I watched this video and I was like, are you serious that you're like saying this during IAE? Are you serious that it's so complex and so hard for you to do the main game loop of the merchantman, which would be the cargo, and selling cargo to other players? If that's too hard for you, and I know that NPCs are supposed to do that, but if it's too hard for you, the CAG, to code the NPCs and do that, why don't you let us do that? We already have an MO trader, maybe add something to it, and that's it. Is it that fucking hard? Is it that hard to give us something like any other game?
Like give a little tool to the player. Yeah, like can we just have a fucking trade window?
Any other feature that we need for the ship?
A marketplace. But then, grumpy. What are we trading? What's the value of money? What are the gold sinks? What is a valuable thing that we would trade between each other? There's very few things. It's railguns, sniper rifles, maybe. Right? It is too hard. It is too hard. Because when you actually think, because you're going to make a video, if they do that, right? They open a trade window for you. What are you going to do? You're going to make another video talking about the fact that there's nothing to trade, right? So you're going to move, like CIG has moved their goalposts a million times. I'm a victim of this too, and I'm maybe projecting on, I probably am projecting on to Grumpy a little bit here, the idea of now he's going to move the goalpost next. Because every time I think that I just need looting, for example, just let me loot players. It'll be sick. It is kind of sick. So when you kill another player and you loot their body, even though they might be wearing the same fucking armor you're wearing, it's pretty cool. It's a good feeling. But the idea of the armor, the weapons, the components, any gear that they have on them is all very vanilla and doesn't really change the experience at all, is one of the bigger problems here too. So if you just get a trade window, there's nothing to trade. So you're going to make a video getting mad about that, right? And you're going to move the goalpost that way because we always think that, oh, just a little bit more and it's going to be good. No, this game needs a lot more, not a little bit more. It needs a whole hell of a lot. And the spaceships have nothing to do with it. The spaceships will enhance what they do, but the spaceships are not the most important thing. Yet, for some reason, it's always at the forefront of our minds. Keep drawing the fucking pictures.
Like the pipeline, and I'm like, you can see that I've been playing Star Citizen the past few days, and I was streaming that, and it was an experience. And you can see the frustration coming back again. And like, if it's so hard, why are you hyping it up? The only reason that I can like say here is because you're trying to scam people. And I'm pretty sure that like those are not your intentions.
It's not. I think they're just trying to say what they're working on at the current time. Right? 600i rework. This is something we did. We'll share it with you. But the problem is that the result of that will result in more people buying 600 eyes, and the result of showing the Band of Merchantmen will result in more people buying Band of Merchantments. So the behavior, it's like a weird thing to determine. Their whole thing is like, we're open, but there's obviously some like malicious aspect to sharing those things specifically. I just don't believe in the Band of Merchantmen's case that they planned for whoever to leave left. You know, and it might have been the art director guy, or it might have been another artist, but somebody left because they shared it in the SCL, or other multiple people left, and they're not sure they can handle anything with the team that they have.
But do you understand how it looks like? It looks like a fucking scam, and that's it. Now, on the other hand, we have the SRV,
but I don't
and
think
that's been progressing. So that means that we're gonna get the tractor beams and all of that on our ships, and like the SRV is gonna have the first tractor beam. Also, they're gonna probably, like in the back of the SRV, there should be like a monitor and an external camera. So that should be in the game. So maybe the mirrors are gonna work then, and maybe we're gonna have cameras on our A90 jumps, like downstairs in the other bridge, the second bridge. So maybe that's gonna help a bit.
Or maybe they're gonna delay that ship too.
But
like,
also, please, guys, here? Like, it's been a fucking year. You can understand our frustration. You gave us a single patch for the whole year, and I can understand that PES is not working out, but this is like the third rendition of the P cache. We had the P cache, the I cache, and now it's PES. So, guys, like, figure shit out, straighten up, and make the fucking game that we all like paid for and that we all want to play. Is it that hard to understand what we want? On the other hand, we had a topic where like a bunch of pirates and the developers and cargo holders and me, like in between, I guess, we were talking about, well, I said something, they never responded, of course. They were talking about the cargo refactor and the fact that it's not going to be 70% of a chance for you to have the soft death anymore, because they don't like it. Like, apparently all of a sudden they don't like it. That's cool, because I didn't like it. Most of us didn't like it. So now you will need to destroy the ship. Like, you can basically finish off a ship. So that's good, but also they have no idea what to do with the self-destruct and if it should work or not, or how it should work, or like is that gonna de-incentivize, and it is going to de-incentivize pirates and people that are they want to board your ship, because like, why would you try to board it if somebody's already hit backspace and the ship is gonna blow up? So yeah,
we were talking about the Band of Merchantmen.
I just
what happened?
Like realized that they have no idea what they're doing. Instead of them building the systems for the game, they again want to do a tier 0 that they're going to rework, and it's going to be completely different in the end at some point, maybe. But like, we're going to get stuck with that for a couple of years, and then they're going to rework that, and then we're going to get a tier 0 or something else, etc, etc, etc. So instead of not letting cargo haulers backspace or anyone backspace so they can get boarded, so they can have like a PvP experience with like FPS experience, actually, and
he's making assumptions. See, this is why you can't share Evo leaks right here. This is why CIG doesn't want people to see Evo Cadi. This is why that exists. This is why there's an NDA. Something must have happened in Evo where there was some issue with self-destruct, and now he is saying CIG doesn't know what they're doing. I don't know if he's an Evo or not. I don't think he is. So, but then, because I heard rumblings about something with self-destruct too, and I only played the most recent Evo patch. I didn't try self-destruct or anything, but the whole aspect here is this is why an NDA exists, because he thinks they don't know what they're doing when Evo's there for a reason.
Incentivizing cargo haulers to do their game loop by giving
It wasn't an Evo. The devs asked what the community would like in Spectrum. Oh, wow. So they asked for community feedback and then didn't, and then he's getting mad at that? This is like, guys, I'm sorry. I have not been around the Star Citizen community for the last couple of weeks because of obvious issues that I don't feel like sharing with you guys anymore. So I am a little bit behind here. My guess was that it was an Evo thing, but apparently it's a Spectrum post. And asking for feedback, what's wrong with that? You want it because you want to hear from all sides. Because if you just listen to what Grumpy Eye says, or you just listen to what I say, it's an echo chamber. It's just a small glimpse of what the overall community wants to see. It would be great to hear from pirates. It would be great to hear from cargo haulers. It would be great to hear what everybody wants in this scenario, right? And not what everybody wants is reasonable. You shouldn't be able to self-destruct when you're in a soft death state, right? That's silly.
Them insurance. Instead, they're trying to figure out how to work around that. Like, we, the players, are working around the bugs. They, the developers, are working around their basically laziness, because that's what it is. And like, maybe it's not laziness, but it is mismanagement. Because if you're gonna add something that like one player group is gonna profit from a lot, and that player group needs the other group to play the game loop, so the cargo and the pirates, and the cargo holders are not going to hold their cargo because there are pirates now and they can destroy them, and it's a lose-lose situation for them. If you de-incentivize them, the pirates are not going to be happy and the cargo holders are not going to be happy. But if just one group is happy, that doesn't fucking work. But if you give, like, I don't know, insurance to the cargo holders and give the game loop to the pirates where they could board and steal their cargo, then both of the sides will be happy. Well, the cargo holders wouldn't really be happy if they're pirated, but it's not that big of a deal because they could return their funds and they would like lose, I don't know, 10-20% of what they invested. So
I don't know how we got onto this topic, but yeah, it's
instead of doing that, they're trying to find a workaround. Like, why? Because this is not going to be the end result.
Because players shouldn't be able to use self-destruct as a tool to avoid being pirated. Right? Like, that's all this is. Like, I'm really confused here. Like, in what world would in a video game would you allow a player to use self-destruct as a tool to avoid being pirated? Where does it, like, how does that make any sense? So it's currently the way the game works now. It's also currently like backspacing meta and Alt F4 metas and all these things, right? So it's kind of a weird thing as a cargo hauler. I'm seeing like Sea of Thieves and people saying scuttle the ship. I never really play Sea of Thieves, so I don't know what like how that tool is used, but this is a cargo hauling situation. You would be destroying your monetary investment. Like, why would anybody want to do that? So, yeah. How does implementing soft death with no way to recover from soft death at the moment make sense either? All of your cargo is in the ship. You can recover from it, right? So can you repair your ship and get it flying again? No. But can you remove all the cargo from the ship and take it out? Sure. How are we still looking at this game and not realizing that everything's temporary? Like, how are you guys still looking at this and not going, wow, that's a nice temporary solution until you actually make the thing? This is what everybody wanted this entire time. At least that was my understanding, is, man, please make the game a little bit more fun now while we wait for you to actually make the game, because you're incapable of making it at a very fast pace. Not at the pace that we would like you to work at, right? Everybody would like them to work at a certain pace that's probably very unreasonable. Dude, I'm loving the fact that they implement soft death. Now ships don't just explode. You now have a way to defend yourself sometimes in a ship that's very difficult to defend, right? So let's say a cargo ship, it's not going to do well against a bunch of really well put together combat ships. It's probably going to die. Now you could defend yourself, right? So yeah, there's something to this. There's more to this. There's a lot more people that are better at FPS games than they are at 6 Degree of Freedom ship combat games. So
why aren't you working on the end fucking result? This is the only game that I know of that just keeps on adding shit with intention to rework it in the future, because this is not what we want. We want something else, but we're gonna do.
I mean, this is a clear you don't understand game development situation. This is how all game development is done. This is how all software development is done. It's just you're watching it happen in out in the open. As much as I hate hearing Jared say it, it's simply the fucking truth. Right? The only difference is the one backwards ass thing that CIG has done is that instead of white boxing and gray boxing the universe and the ships and everything and focusing only on the gameplay, because that's what every other game starts with, is the player experience, not the visual experience. That's the only thing that's broken. But implementing something with intention to rework it later is absolutely something that happens in software dev all the time. No game developer is going to tell you that shit's backwards. The way they've developed Star Citizen is backwards, but not in that standpoint.
Do it anyway, because fuck you, that's why, and you're gonna be stuck with it for, I don't know, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We're stuck with the inventory system for a year and maybe a half, and yeah, we still didn't have the inventory.
I know this is his rant video. Man, if he stopped this video right here, this would have been the best video he ever made.
System updated at all. In 3.18 we're gonna get like one more button and that's it. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, is it that hard? And then you can see that I'm frustrated. And then they're gonna rework the whole fucking thing at some point, whenever they feel like it. I guess the message behind this whole video, and for you that watched my yesterday's stream, you will know that I have a severe stomachache and I'm feeling really dizzy, and I'm like barely talking right now, and that's one of the reasons why I'm overly pissed off right now. But I guess what I'm saying is, don't buy anything during IE. Honestly, fuck that. They're gonna tease you with the Galaxy. They're gonna say that they're working on it. They said that they're working on the A1, the C1, and the E1, and that's like why they ditched the Legionnaire and the Tumbrel, whatever, Ranger and the Apollo and all of that. So basically, what they keep on doing in the past, well, 2 years is telling you that they're gonna do something and then asking money for it, and then putting a pin into it whenever they're done with the sales and whenever they're happy with the amount of money that they made, and having it in the backlog for the next couple of years. And yeah, so like, how do you call that? You tell me. That is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching.
It's immoral.
Thank you to all my patrons for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, there's going to be a link down in the description of the video. You can support me instead of supporting CAG. Like, here's the thing. I love the game. I want the game to succeed, but not like this. This is basically just fucking scamming people. I do not know if they're intentionally doing this, but at least with me, you know that I'm gonna put out the fucking videos and I'm gonna do shit instead of fucking giving them money for overpriced JPEGs that you may never get because you might die. So if you want to support me, this is the weirdest fucking Patreon outro ever. So if you want to support me, there's going to be a link down in the description of the video. And yeah, I love you all. And yeah, of course, subscribe, because with subscribing, you're entering the giveaway, and you all win my heart. And I love you all. And again, thank you for watching. And don't forget to bring a towel when you're trying into space. And mwah, bye.
Grumpy's here. Dude, the video, as always, starts off really, really good. Overall, the best video you've ever made. The oh, there's an extra video at the end. Maybe we'll check that out, but I do want to just finish my thought process on the actual content of the thing. I think, like, because Grumpy's here, I'll kind of say it with him here. There's a clear, like, you don't understand game development situation here of the like putting things in and having to rework them, but the mentality around the Banu Merchantman and everything of the delays and things like that, and don't buy concept ships and all that, I'm definitely kind of behind that. But the the idea for me is this is just like a morality situation. That's where it comes down to. Is it just feels icky what they're doing. It feels icky. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's icky, right? Put out a picture of a ship, no accountability to release it. It's icky. It's yucky, but it's how they funded the game, and it's how they're going to continue to fund the game, and it's not going to stop. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. And that's just where it's at. It's it just comes down to like morality versus shareholders. And shareholders are going to win. Sorry. You know, it just is what it is. Just is what it is.